What does productivity mean to you as a developer? To me, software development productivity is in one way the line of code that you produce versus the time you have taken to write that code. So what if we take less time to write more code? It means that we'll be more productive in our work, right? So today's video is all about productivity, and we're going to talk about a few tips that you can use while coding on the VS Code editor to be more productive. Hey, this is Tapas. I keep teaching concepts from web development, full stack, JavaScript, Git, GitHub, open source. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel because I keep creating and sharing a lot of good content over here. I hope from today's video, we'll be able to learn some of these productivity tips and use them straight away in your development journey. If you're already using them or anything outside of what we are covering today video, please post a comment into the comment section of this video so that we all learn together. Alright, so without any further delay, let's get started. Visual Studio Code is one of the leading source code editor, also an IDE, arguably one of the best today for web development. And there is something called Emmet, E-M-M-E-T, Emmet. It's a plugin based infrastructure that can provide HTML, CSS code snippets from the shorthand syntaxes. So you actually type down some shorthand syntaxes, and from there the entire HTML and the CSS code get produced. Isn't that awesome? So this is what we are going to use today and try to take advantage of it to become more productive developer. Okay, so get started with things one by one. So first thing, I have opened up our index.html file, and in most of your web development, what you do in general, you open up index.html file and then start typing your HTML code. So you'll be typing like say HTML, then inside that you will be typing head and things like that. It's like lot of typing. Instead of that, you just press this particular symbol. So once you press this symbol, you see here you are already getting something called Emmet abbreviation. So it means the plugin is already installed by default with VS Code. So what you do next is just press enter. The moment you pressed enter, you get the entire HTML structure in front of you. Now the next thing that you do is filling certain gaps. For example, the device with you put, or you put the title of it and then start coding your HTML straight away. So this is the first shortcut that I wanted to cover, is about creating the HTML structure. Alright, so now let's move on to the next structure that we're going to cover. You have a HTML structure. Now you want to start adding more tags. So for example, you want to add an input tag. How can you do an input tag? You will be doing like input, then you'll be doing say type equals to text, things like that. So instead of that, if there's too much of typing, so what you can do in the shortcut way, you say input colon, then you give the type that you want. For example, I want a time box, input time. That's it, input colon time. I'm just going to keep say time, and then ID would be time ID. I'm navigating from one value to another value using the tab key. That's what you can do. So these tags shorthands are very useful. For example, you want to create a disable button. It's just as simple as button colon D. Press enter. Button disable equals to disable. Isn't that cool? You are typing only few characters and it is going to create the things for you, create the code for you. So that is the second one about the tags and all those expansions, right? So now we are going to get into the third one, where we will be creating element with classes and ID. What is class? What is ID? So for each of the HTML element, you can provide an unique identifier called ID, or you can provide a class name using which you can actually style that element, right? So you know that's a basic fundamental thing. Now, how can you create a unordered list with a class name called list? Okay, one way to create is you do like UL is the unordered list, and then you come here and say class equals to list. So how many things we have typed? We have really typed a lot of stuff, and we have some room of error and things like that, also like misspelling and things like that. Instead of that, what I can do, just exactly the same thing, I can do like UL dot the class name. That's it, and enter. See, it's going to create the same syntax, exactly same syntax. UL dot list is going to create the same thing. Now if you want to do it with the ID instead of the class, with class you give the dot, for example li dot list item. So I'm saying that with li tag, you create li tag and give a class name called list item. I press enter, li class list item. If I want to do it with say id, so I'll be doing like li instead of dot, what I'll be doing is say list hyphen id. I'll be giving a hash instead of this pound symbol, basically instead of dot. Then I push enter and it gives li id equals to list id. So this is another shorthand, this is another shortcut that you have to learn. All right, now if you sure that you are going to use div as an HTML element always, you don't have to even mention that, div dot class or div hash or div pound symbol something. What you do basically, just give dot class name is going to create a div for you, going to give the class name associated with your class, and that's it. So if you want to just create a div with an id, I know, you guessed it by, so say my id is going to create a div with the id called my id. This is super cool. This is really, really cool stuff that you need to know. So this is good. This is done. So now we know like how to create elements. We know how to kind of deal with it. We know these things pretty well, and I'm sure that you will be able to take a lot of advantage of doing this. Now let's go little complex. From the simple thing, we'll learn thing little complex. So what we'll be doing is like we'll be building hierarchy. So if I have an unordered list, you generally have list item li inside ul. So the hierarchy generally goes like, say you have ul and inside that you have bunch of li tags, right? So you have like one li, maybe there are 5 list items you need, so 2 3 4 5. This is the structure, this is the hierarchy that you have in general. So let's first know like what will be my Emmet syntax, what will be the shorthand syntax to create this hierarchy. So I want to create one ul and inside that I want to create an li. So ul, the greater than symbol, and li. If I press enter, is going to create the structure for me. Then I'll just start typing what is the text I want to give it to li, right? This is cool. I just give ul in the greater than symbol li and it has created the entire structure for me. For example, I want to create a paragraph with certain kind of text. Specifically, when you are doing a lot of testing, UI testing, you want to give the text like lorem ipsum, the kind of garbage text to test out your UI. So if you want to create that lorem ipsum, just give p and inside that lorem the term and press enter. What you're seeing over here is created a p tag and it has created a bunch of lorem ipsum for you so that you can test your UI with a bigger text. So imagine if you had to type it, or imagine if you have to probably copy this from somewhere, it's extra work. What you did is p greater than lorem, that's the word, and it's going to create thing for you. So this is super cool. This is super cool. All right, now what we are going to do, we are going to test it like this hierarchy a little bit more. For example, now my objective is to create a ul tag, inside that create a li tag with a class name, inside that li tag create another a tag with another class name. Okay, so first we'll create an ul tag, inside that one li tag with the class name is always with dot list, and then inside this li another anchor tag with a class name of it, right? So it's going to create this hierarchy. Ul, inside ul it has li, the class is list, inside list it has a tag, and inside a tag there is a text that you can actually give the link text. So see, it's like few things you are writing and just happening. Great. This is little complex but good to know. Now we know about the hierarchy, we know about the children. The next thing that we want to learn about something called multiplication. Here we have learned like inside ul to create one li. What if I want to create 5 li's? What if I want to create 5 list item inside one unordered list item? What would be the syntax? Okay, let's do the syntax. So ul inside ul, we know this is going to create one li. Now if I do multiplication of 5, it's going to create 5 li's for me. Now I just need to fill the gaps. Mango, some jackfruit, guava, you can just keep typing the fruit's name basically. So you are going to create this ul li list with just typing few characters, which is really awesome thing, right? So you can start using it. Next thing, I want to create something like siblings. So from multiplication, I'm going to get into siblings. What is sibling? Let's think about in a way like I have a div. inside that div I have 3 divs. So let me write it so that you understand this completely. So I have a div, and inside this div I have what, children div, and then I'll be copying this. I have 3 divs. So these 3 divs are siblings. They are like brother sister to each other, right? And this div is the parent of this div. This div is the children of this div. But these 3 divs related to each other in the sibling way. They are the brother sister. Now if I have to create a hierarchy like this with the shorthand syntax, also at the same time I'm going to add a class name to each of these div. How am I going to do that? Okay, so let's do this thing. We know that if you want to create a div just with a class name, just now we learned called say brothers, it is going to create a div, right? Don't believe me? See, it's going to create a div. Okay, so revert it back. So brothers, inside brother, I am going to create another div with a class name called Alex, and then the sibling called Bob, and then another sibling, maybe Tapas. So what is going to create? Is going to create a div called with a class name called brother. Inside there 3 div in the same sibling hierarchy called Alex, Bob, and Tapas as class names. See, div class brother, and in that Alex, Bob, and Tapas as class name. This is awesome. Basically, please try using this syntaxes. Please try practicing this syntaxes, because once you practice, this will become very, very, very easy for you to kind of try out. All right. So we learned about siblings. The next thing that we're going to learn about something called grouping. This is important. This is little complex. Let me give that example. So what we have done over here, we have created bunch of LIs inside UL. Haven't we done that? Now what if with some shortcut I want to create an anchor tag in each of these li? So here I want to create an anchor tag, here I want to create an anchor, here I want to create an anchor, here and here, right? So you know that we have to use multiplication for sure. That means we have to use 5 LIs. So multiplication we have learned we have to use, but we have to also use something to make sure that anchor tag is placed over here. So why grouping comes into picture. How do you group? Let's do this. So you have a li tag. Inside li tag, now you are grouping, saying that I want an li, sorry, you have an ul tag, and inside ul you want an li, and inside li you want an anchor, and this group you want to repeat 5 times. Does it make sense? So what do we have? We have this. We have ul, inside that you have li, and each of the li is having anchor, each of the li is having anchor, each of the li is having anchor. All right. So while watching this video, you may feel like, I'm going very fast. Don't worry about it. You can actually pause it, go back and try it out yourself. This is more important. Try it out yourself now only. I've also given an MD file which is in the comment section of this video. Just go ahead and check it out. It has everything that we are trying out right now. I've also given a PDF cheat sheet which you can actually use, more and more. You can actually learn more and more such syntaxes beyond whatever we are learning over here. All right. So we are done with grouping. Next thing that we are going to do is called numbering. So what does numbering mean? So for example, in this case itself, say in this li, if I have to have a say class called item 1, right? For example, item 1, and let's say the next one I want to have it like item 2, next one I want to have it like item 3, and so on. So now, even though you have generated the structure with the shorthand, are you going to write these class names manually? Nah, it's not good. So you want to automate that also with shortcut, right? So this is now we are going to get into a lot of powerful stuff. How are you going to do that? Okay, so let me try this one. So let's assume that I'll be creating a header element. Inside header element, there will be an UL, unordered list. Inside unordered list, there will be 3 LIs, and each of the LI will have class name like item 1, item 2, item 3. Okay, so let's do this. So first thing, I will have a header element. Inside header, I have a UL element. Inside UL, I will have LI, and if I give say LI into 3, it is a multiplication policy, so you'll give header inside that UL and 3 LIs. But along with that, what I also want, I want each of this LI to have a class name. So let's say I give a class name called item. So it means that I have a header, inside that I have an unordered list. Inside the unordered list, I have 3 LIs. Each of the LI is having a class name called item. but I want each of the li to have a class name like item 1, item 2, item 3. For that, for this numbering to happen, just add a dollar symbol. So wherever you want this numbering to happen in a multiplication syntax, just add a dollar symbol and enter. It didn't work because of I actually taken the cursor away. So now you have that abbreviation. If I give enter, so header ul class item 1, item 2, item 3. Simple is great. Now the next one is a simpler one. If I want to create something with text, what I mean by that, can I create a span and say this is a span? What do you think is going to happen? See, it's created a span with this text. So it means it is something like you are doing a tag, and along with that, whatever text you want to put the text inside the bracket. That's exactly it is that you have to do. Now let's say I am going to create all the headings like H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, like the hierarchy, all this H1 and all these headings and all. And I want to generate all these headings at once with a single syntax. How am I going to do it? So now I'm going to use a combination of this text plus this dollar that we have learned before, the numbering together. So let's do that. So H, now this dollar, which will give me the 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to do it 6 times, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to tell I am heading, right? So what is going to give me? First time is again a multiplication, like a loop. So this dollar will be first 1, so it will create a H1 and a H1 tag with I am heading, then H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. Enter. That's it. H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. Simple, right? Now, if I just want to tell like I am heading 1, I am heading 2, I am heading 3, I am heading 4, I am heading 5, I am heading 6. I have to change the syntax a little bit. What syntax I'll be using now? Let's get back. Let's remove this. What is the syntax that I'm going to use now? I'm going to use the same dollar over here, because this dollar will be having the value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, isn't it? So let's do this. Dollar and this. I am heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4. This is awesome. This is really awesome thing that you need to try out. Now the last one that we're going to use, which I find is little bit complex. I don't use too much, but sometime I feel it may be useful. Let's learn about something called climb up. What exactly is climb up means? So let me just give you a quick syntax. So let's take this particular syntax for a moment, right? So there is a div. Inside div there is another div. Inside that there is a H3, there is a span, 2 sibling, and then this div is a sibling of this because it's the same level, but it's a children of the outer div, right? Now if you are using the syntax and you are kind of gone too much down in the hierarchy and you want to climb one step back in the hierarchy to modify any element in a way that you want to add a class or ID or a text, you have to use the symbol which is this one to climb up. Okay, so this particular symbol you have to use to climb up. Now to generate this particular syntax, what we can do it. So let's assume we have a div first. So we have div, and then inside that we have another div, right? So we have another div. All right, so inside that what you have a H3. We have a H3 and span are siblings, so it's a plus. We have learned, the plus is the sibling. Now in the span case, now you are too much deep down, right? You are actually in the complete deep down from the div, H3 and span, everything you have created. Now you have to also create this particular div and with the text. How do you do it? Because in the hierarchy you are already here. So it means you have to come out one step ahead. You have to come to this level, and on this level you have to create a div. So what you do in this case alone, you use this symbol to come out one level, then create a div, and you want to add a text called I can climb up. Okay, this, and this is what going to create the same hierarchy, exactly the same hierarchy that we have created before, right? So this is climb up. It's a bit complex, try it out. So we have learned 10 different aspects, 10 different emits right now, but it is like ocean. There are a lot of other opportunities, and how we have actually done a lot of coding very fast, within probably some time, you can do the same thing with the CSS as well. So please go ahead and learn the CSS as well. I have given you the cheat sheet, so go ahead and try it out, and I hope it was useful to you. So was it useful to you? If so, please like this video and share it in your circles. If you have anything to comment or you have questions, please feel free to comment to this video. Sooner I'll be coming back with another video from the area of web development, full stack, Git, GitHub, open source, or in general about development practices or programming. Until then, take a great care of yourself, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe because I keep sharing a lot of good content over here. Alright, see you soon next.